Hello, 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 and welcome on in. We are back in Ace Attorney 2, Justice for All. Fourth case, farewell my turnabout. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope wherever you may be, if you're tuning in, live or on YouTube, that you're having a good day or good night. Wherever you may be, remembering to stay hydrated, remembering to eat some food, get some rest, take care of yourself. I'll tell you one thing though, before I jump in. One of the scariest things as a human being is seeing a tick crawling on you. Slightly below that is seeing a tick crawling up your wall. Because it's like, where did you come from? Did you come from me? How did you get inside here? What are you doing? But anyway, hope you're doing well. There's some weather happening. Some rains and some storms. Looks like most of it's isolated now, though most of it's passed. So we should be good. Haven't lost power. But if something happens, might be because a storm came back, swung back around, and decided to get me. Alright, well, let's jump right back in then now. For the trial, we were on the trial. Last time we finished up the investigation. We had to basically do a flash investigation because we theoretically, supposedly, ostensibly only have one trial day to acquit Matt Engarde in the murder of Juan Corrida. The Nickel Samurai, accused of murdering the Jammin Ninja. There's still some things that we don't know. Does this have any involvement with some suicides of the past? With the Jammin Ninja, Juan Corrida's manager? Where is the red guitar? The staple brand image of the Jammin Ninja? And who may be trying to frame Matt Engarde? Supposedly we have one trial to get that acquittal, or else bad things will happen to Maya, who has been kidnapped by a mysterious figure only known as the Killer. Is he the Killer? Who is to say? Well, let's find out. March 22nd, 9:47 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Adrian did it? And that's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there'll be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. One second. Mountain of evidence. I'm certain there's someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. It's gonna ruin the tour. I understand. It's almost time. Ah, yes, Mia. Mia, you must get a complete acquittal today. I know. Although theoretically Maya did escape. We saw that little flashback that she apparently used the card to unlock the door and get out. Interesting. But I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. It's the transceiver. It's him. This is right.
Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial.
Maya, she's unharmed, right?
Well, when I checked on her early this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you should really be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning.
Present? What in the world would you want to give me?
You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest. If you please.
Wait! Kidnapper sent me a present? Mr. Lawyer dude, who is that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Maybe a little. By a centimeter. March 22nd, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 3. Here's the prosecution.
Court is now in session for the trial of Madame Engarde. The prosecution and defense ready.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma?
I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor?
Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. You must tell me something. Please keep it brief. Now then, what is it?
Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. Excuse me? I guess that's the present. Okay, that escalated quickly, which is the motto of this entire case. That escalated quickly.
What?
Shot. Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present? Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright?
I don't have that answer.
She's alive and in stable condition.
That's good, phew. You're...
I thought he'd show up. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Francisca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Mines Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready, naturally.
Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder.
Ironic.
And is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Engarde.
The court acknowledges the prosecution.
Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Witness your name and occupation.
My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir.
Detective Gumshoe? The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that.
Get ready, Phoenix. This is gonna be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. Bare facts of the case. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Awards ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. How'd you find that out? It's probably what we're going to discuss. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room. Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant went alone to the room, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, let's see what we can find. Happened after the Hero of Heroes Awards, sir. How do we know that, by the way? Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. Ceremony started at 6 p.m. Ended around 8 p.m. And then there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, Detective. He was found dead in his hotel room, which we know. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. The cause of death? Wasn't that because Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, Belle. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, real pro attention would be drawn here to this bandana. Oh, he was... Banana? His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Oh, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. Then what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Interesting. Time of death, 8:15 p.m. Strangled with a scarf and stabbed with a knife.
At first we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. But we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder.
What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case?
The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. Victim 1, Corita, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar.
So the guitar case was empty before he got to the hotel.
Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all.
That's not true. It may have had something to do with the case. Because the murderer may not have known that the guitar wasn't in the case. Our first order of business should be to gather more info from his testimony. There might be a trap set up for us somewhere. Maybe. However, setting off traps is part of a lawyer's job too. If you say so. Of course, we're supposed to escape from them too, what did you say? Corita was found dead in his hotel room. Definitely murdered. And why did you think that?
Because it was empty, pal. The German ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? Fan really wanted the guitar into the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but the only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims.
Only the victims, huh?
See, as much as for my theory then.
There's some water, but only on the top of the lid, and bears Corita's fingerprints.
I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Engarde? Because there was reason enough to suspect him.
Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing.
Very well, Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir.
It's interesting that we've actually been getting evidence from the testimony, too. In this case. Why arrest Engarde?
Matt Engarde and one Corita were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book.
Speculation, Detective.
As for the evidence, there's the German ninja's button. It was ripped off of the ninja costume and was found in Engarde's hakama.
But how does it have blood on it, then? If it was stabbed after his death.
The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the...
Oh, that's a typo. Oh no, bought the knife for the crime.
Which makes this a premeditated murder.
How did he buy it?
The defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir.
Sticky? Yeah, Gatewater. He didn't buy it for it.
And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And is this button also covered in blood? Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir.
What? But how can it be? Okay, so I think we have a couple avenues that could be contradictions. There's definitely the bought it. he can't have bought it. It's from the Gatewater Hotel. The button also has blood, but the stab occurred after he'd already been strangled to death.
Well, this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it?
Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right?
I'll find the hole in your argument somehow.
You can press as hard as you like. Just hurry up with your usual pointless questions.
One Cordito were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. Let's talk about this a little more. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Engarde was beating Mr. Cordito in the popularity polls.
Well, yeah, I guess, but...
Which means that, in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. It's true.
Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective. It's not... Well, I guess if you put it that way, then yes, the defendant would have had no motive.
Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired.
No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. That's...
I look forward to your pension negotiations.
No! Now, detective, let's continue with the testimony. Oh, not my poor pension, too.
Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed.
Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir.
What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? For evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Engarde's Hakama. When was this button found?
Pretty soon after the body was found. We rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Gorda. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. It was almost immediately after the murder.
The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people.
Hey, what's he trying to say about me here?
The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife.
I'm gonna press this. This is a contradiction, I think. There's no way this was a premeditated murder, even if you bought the knife.
Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either.
Well, this is not good. The prosecution can prove it was premeditated murder we're done for. Phoenix, yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. Button and a knife with Engarde's fingerprints. I'd be grateful if the judge were more rash. He would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. But before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. In the testimony, no matter how small it may be, okay, Phoenix? Yeah. Okay, let's save this real quick. Safety save. But clearly, it says Gatewater on it. Wait a second.
What?
So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand?
That's right, pal. The defendant
Did not buy this knife.
Huh?
And take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Huh? There's a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I heard that name somewhere before.
That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel. It's Gatewater, not Watergate. Chalk that one up also to the how long did it take me to realize what the game was doing. Uh-oh. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Well, it doesn't mean it's not premeditated, it just means the knife part. He didn't bring the knife with him.
Yes, that's very true. This is very big. What is it, Mr. Edward?
I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless.
What?
I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined.
How so?
I admit this knife is hotel property. There's no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this.
But I didn't... Oh...
The question is, where did this knife come from?
Well, it's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corridor's room.
Did not, it came from...
Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table.
There's a knife and a fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from?
If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room for the defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde.
There's definitely something else that's wrong there. Yeah.
Especially what was on top of his table. There's something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Engarde's knife was missing. Mr. Engarde had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder.
Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction.
Seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it.
What happened with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume? Quite a sizable amount of evidence here.
I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your honest time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court.
Evidence not yet shown? It means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence.
What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright?
I don't know, man. Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, the gavel of his will be ringing out the sound of our defeat.
Sir, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court?
I don't think I do. Don't know, man. Well, but I don't know if that's what they're going for. That's the problem. There's the blood underneath where the button would have been, including very far underneath where the button would have been. So how did the blood get on them? That's technically stuff we've seen before. We have this as well. But that meant that someone would have had to open it after the struggle, which is presumably when he would have been dead. What is this? Oh, just the nickel samurai. I mean, there aren't very many ruffles on his pants. So I don't exactly know. Like, there aren't really, in the picture, there aren't really many pleats. So I really don't know how it got stuck there. I'm gonna have to go against the bluff, and I'm gonna try to say no, not right now. It has to be another trap. If I don't say anything, then risk throwing out a bad piece of evidence.
Saying a P, run is run.
Which means this court is adjourned. Phoenix, we'll lose this case if you give up here.
Slow down, we all know I have a tendency to be wrong more than I can't even say it. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see.
Right. I'll say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. I'm giving you one chance, and only one.
What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here.
It messes up its curtains for all of us. I really don't know, though. I don't know what they want. Oh, jeez, the entire bar. It's the wine glass with tomato juice. I mean, it could be. I mean, it could also be this, because this is what he knows. As some other form of, like, motive. Well, like, I don't know. Like, there's part of me that wants to look at this, but so it's supposedly a piece of new evidence, but it hasn't seen. The court would not have seen this. We've seen the picture of the murder scene. We've seen the knife. We've seen the button. We've seen the autopsy report. We've seen the guitar case.
Sorry, right, but this time your bluffing steered you wrong.
Okay, I guess that's not it. Okay, well. Is that not right? Oh my gosh. Alright, well, we'll have to reload that.
Guilty.
Alright, so that's not it. Clearly, that's not it. Okay. So then the other thing could be the wine glass. It is the wine glass, alright.
It's a wine glass, it's not.
Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because the victim struggled against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These are all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser.
Well, I see your point.
However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration.
How?
Well, what do you all have to say?
Oh, yes, it is a little peculiar.
Yes, isn't it? I thought it was.
Stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Straight to earth.
What is it, Your Honor?
Your opinion?
You don't need my opinion. And because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. But why did she have a glass?
That does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright.
Set the glass down without thinking? I don't think so. Alright, I made it through that first room, so let's go through here. I don't think so. If I appear weak here, the trial's over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. You just might fall for it, if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. Would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table.
Got the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, you have any proof to back up your claim?
There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing.
Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it.
What?
You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice?
Then,
of course, it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints.
fingerprints?
There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass.
Only one? Well, whose were they?
They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were on one Adrian Andrews.
What? Interesting. So we have a guitar case that was opened after Juan Corrida's death with only his fingerprints. We have a knife that was stabbed into Corrida's chest after his death with only, after he was strangled, with only Engarde's fingerprints. And we have a wine glass, immaculate, sitting alone on this dresser that has otherwise had its contents strewn on the floor with only Adrian Andrews' fingerprints. Which would suggest to me that something about this has been staged by someone wearing gloves so as not to get their fingerprints on anything.
That is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright?
I can't believe I fell into another trap.
Miss Andrews is probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser.
Why not the table? It would have come to that first.
What you just said makes a lot of sense.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, that's the map. In that very brief flashback scene, there was something else on the dresser. There's something lying flat on the dresser. Like a note, for example. Intensifies.
Now, do you see right? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well.
Perhaps it explains everything too well in general.
I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I've come to discover.
Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict.
Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution is yet another witness we would like the court to hear from.
Oh no. Is it Miss Oldbag?
Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking?
Indeed. He's got me dead to oh my gosh, it's Oldbag.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation.
Gotcha. I wonder what happened to the calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, Edgy boy, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me.
I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the wicked witch of the witness stand.
I tell ya, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm gonna tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all the court needs to know.
Shush, I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps.
Yes, madam.
No, please, by all means, interrupt her. Please. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please.
It's true what they say. That youth are hot-headed nowadays, not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with?
The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag?
It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
You mean you were proud of the victim?
Look, everyone's crazy over that Engarde, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I've no interest in a little child like him. Aren't they the same age? I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida.
But those two were the same age.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night.
Very well, please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder.
Leave it to me, Edgy Poo.
what you witnessed.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Engarde, Matt Engarde. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
So Mr. Engarde came out from the victim's room.
See? It has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay. I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. Why? Miss Oldbeck, what was your post on that night?
The lobby? I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help. I have you know I was for that It was for that lead-headed samurai show. I even took out a few of the nails.
Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on.
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door. Yeah, it was interesting in finding out. What were you interested in finding out? Something you were interested in. And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy-Poo, of course.
Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in?
I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor.
Gossip.
But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to a testimony later.
Looks like we should enforce it right now.
Everyone is staying in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time.
I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. Were you actually there the whole time? Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corrida's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am.
As well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report.
In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct?
Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room, he was.
Yes, he was.
I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Francesca's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I can tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway.
Okay. You say my client. Are you sure about that?
Yes, see?
Really?
Annoying brat. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person.
Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Exactly. You didn't see Matt Engarde. She saw the Nickel Samurai. Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Yeah, what was the person wearing? And please don't record about the man's clothes in more detail.
What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters.
But it does.
Oh, what was it? Oh, yes, it was that thing.
What thing?
That gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket.
Oh? Wait. That's not right. Oh, he was wearing that at the detention center, too.
That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men.
Right.
That's right. Was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
It actually was. actually is kind of important. Of course it was important, Your Honor.
Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important.
Don't you see it, Edgeworth?
Your Honor, I request that the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony.
I don't quite see where you're going with this, but all right, witness, please.
Ah, well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. It's all just for show.
Okay. What about this one?
Miss Oldbag,
What? Don't say my name for no reason.
do you know what this is?
Ah, it's a button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
How do you know it's button number 2? Do they have personalities?
Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it at a single glance.
Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this.
Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Engarde's body during a full body search.
See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that rascal Engarde.
It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai Hakama pants.
See? And Engarde is the Nickel Samurai.
Witness, now it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Engarde, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
Let's put the helmet back on. Breathe in, breathe out.
Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, but instead I have to put up with wearing this ridiculous looking outfit, it's hideous, right? Got a tape recorder stuck in my chest. Now take a look at the mirror. Your clothes are about as interesting as a documentary on curling.
Now hold your tongue still for 1 second. What you saw in actuality was not Mr. Engarde the man, but Mr. Engarde the Nickel Samurai.
But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway.
Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Edgy Pooh, don't you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering.
Just say it's important and agree with me for a change.
Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify.
All right, if you insist.
Should be the one sighing, not you.
Who I saw.
Engarde, yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to the post-ceremony stage, so right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume.
What? You think there could have been someone else inside that costume?
We've literally been over this.
Don't be a bad little boy thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist.
Ah, youngins today. I told you there's no way it was anyone else.
How do you know that?
Because I said so. And what I say is the truth.
At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Alright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Alright. I'm gonna just look through everything. The Nickel Samurai. Would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. Okay, let's start with, why would it be convenient? Oh, thank you, Health Slices. It helps. So I come from a little bit of an entertainment background, so I'm used to having to be loud and talk for long periods of time. It helps a lot. Water also helps a lot. Also, I make poor choices. Like the judge and Will Powers are not good voices. Thank goodness I don't have to voice them all the time. But I think it's really fun to read things kind of out loud. Even when I'm playing something off stream or alone. It just helps kind of get into the character and the world a little bit more for me. And why would that be?
That way, no one could see his face, of course.
Well, there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
Isn't that what you're always doing to me?
I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume.
He had to go to that post-ceremony stage right after the crime, you know? Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jammin' Ninja.
Of course it included him. That's why when Engarde came out of Dear Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought.
I see.
Well, anyway.
There's no blood on the costume. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai?
As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one, huh? There's a contradiction in her testimony that's sitting in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. I'll have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. Okay, yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Okay. Well, technically speaking, where is this person? But I don't know if that's what they're going for. Karita. Well, she also didn't see Adrian Andrews either. Okay, let's see what this says. Wear his costume during the murder. Had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime. So he must have worn when he was stabbing poor Juan. I think I think this is the point of contradiction, because it's worded like, so he must have worn that costume when he was stabbing Port One. So I have to have something here that would show that he wasn't. I mean, there's a mess here, but I don't know if that's what they're looking for. Let me save real quick. There's a contradiction, but what could it be? Let me try this. No. It's not. Okay. So it's not that. I'm definitely on the wrong track. Must have been that. He had to go to the post-ceremony stage show right after the crime. So it would have been convenient for him to wear the costume during the murder. Or is this where it is? It would have been convenient. I'll try this one and then I'll maybe reload. But I'm not wasting all my lives. No. Okay. No, they aren't, are they? Okay. I'm gonna load back here. Let's think this through a little bit. And from his costume. Strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. 8:15 p.m. This is nothing. No, it's not. Alright, let me go back through everything, and maybe there's something else I need to press on. Whoop, wrong thing. Would you please get on with your testimony?
Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. You keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs.
What?
Striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He's the nickel samurai.
She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears.
Edward, can you please do something about this racket?
Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you'll be good and stick just to the facts.
Okay, you promise, right?
Right. I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date.
Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum. Okay. That's right. It's the Nickel Samurai that I saw. I'll try that one. Done that one. I think we've done this one already. A little more careful. You said he was wearing his racing jacket and now he's not.
Not too long ago. Let me ask you this, when you were itty bitty, what was your grand dream?
Huh?
What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper?
My dream, huh? Well, I, wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court, so what?
See? And look at where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner. Are you? Are you?
Well,
What I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
since when did court become theatrics over testimonies? Since the first game, Phoenix. We've been here the whole time.
All that matters is that man was inside that costume. Isn't that enough?
I really don't know. I need to go to that post-ceremony stage show. What is it? I honestly don't know. It's either similar. Nickel Samurai, that's right. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Convenient for him to use the costume. He had to go to the stage show right after. Is it the death? It happened at 8:15. So that's 15 minutes to get into the costume? No, I'm still on the wrong page. I'm still on the wrong track. They must have worn that Nickel 7 when he was stabbing poor Juan. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot. It's so obvious when he was stabbing poor Juan. Except there's fingerprints on the thing. Please take a look at this.
Yeah, so it's a knife, big deal. If you're trying to scam me with that, I'll have you know it won't work.
No, not that. That's not my intention at all.
That's a knife that was used in the murder, correct?
Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case?
You don't even have to ask, because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that what you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at. A brick wall.
What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving? It's mine.
If Mr. Engarde was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. It's cloth, yeah.
That's right, and the samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. Why would he take... I mean, look. Alright. Sidebar. My defendant is clearly an idiot. My client. I don't know if he's that much of an idiot. End of sidebar. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he could do something like that. I think the other thing is jam on bread. It's like the crust. Why didn't eat the crust? That's so non sequitur tangent to this. Because it said there was like jelly on the knife. I think the weird thing that wasn't quite the bone of the T-bone steak was like crust left over from like toast and jam. There's no way he would do something like that.
However, there's one possibility.
Then let's hear your possibility.
It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendant had no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off.
But then it wouldn't be premeditated.
The murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I've heard that before. But Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edwards' theory?
Let me get this straight. Edwards' theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? There are no problems, there's a contradiction. Think about it one more time. I mean, there is a contradiction. Because his whole argument is it's premeditated. He would have brought the knife with him. But there's a contradiction. And this theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony.
What are you blabbing about?
Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Engarde was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Because he brought the knife. This knife was used by Mr. Engarde at dinner.
Yes, we did establish that.
Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Cordida.
I suppose.
However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us.
Order, order, I say, order in the court. Isn't that really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing?
To hide the murder method to frame Matt Engarde. Well, I think it's to frame Matt Engarde. Specifically. It's to frame my client, Mr. Engarde, of course.
To frame?
Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife.
Witness?
Looks like I made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo?
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but...
Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Engarde with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of those doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure.
She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside of security.
I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Von Corrida, am I correct, witness?
The way you think you're a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness.
No, you were waiting for Adrian Andrews.
Amateur? Me? I'm an amateur.
So Hollenbeck was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. Maybe maybe Hollenbeck was waiting around for that person. That's who I think Mia's hinting at. It's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you?
Who's this person?
And this is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Engarde's manager.
Why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room?
It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor.
Oh, this is, well, this is, I see.
The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing.
And this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's...
Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then.
What is? What in the world are you?
Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I do too.
I got some information, some very secret information from a certain source. That's why I was doing my own little investigation. It's secret, of course.
But what for?
Oh, it's just for myself, personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edwards, how will you proceed from here?
I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide.
I see. Very well then, witness, please testify about the secret information.
Get ready. This is gonna take the wind out of you young'uns.
I'm sure we're all capable of handling this, really. It's not like we're 10 years old. Secret information.
That Engarde is one evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret, you got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
And send his manager. What a distasteful topic for this court.
Well, nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant?
Never heard that one before.
Edward, what about this Adrian Andrews person?
We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is in fact baseless gossip.
But should this be true? This proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim.
Means I have to smash this rumor once and for all.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Careful. Lullenbag seems rather excited right now.
That's right, Engarde is nothing but your average foul-mouthed youth.
Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. I don't think that's the saying either. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Okay. Alright. Let's see what we got. An evil man. Causing a huge scandal. A scandal? What do you mean by that?
You're a dim-witted one, aren't ya? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much.
Well, that Engarde thought he could have won a monopoly on popularity.
So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. You don't have any proof that Mr. Engarde did any such thing.
You must be suffering from shock. The shock of hearing the truth. Now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything, alright?
You're right, I can't do anything, but boy, do I wish I could do something about you.
And Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Engarde didn't bear any ill will towards Juan?
I don't ever heard anything.
Didn't bear any ill will. What do we have here? Can you show proof that Engarde didn't bear any ill will towards Juan? I mean, that could be. But he didn't know about that press conference, so I don't think it's that. I think I'm gonna decline. I don't have anything to offer.
See, just as I thought. And you were lecturing me about saying things without proof. You're just giving me a free pass to say whatever I want whenever I want, silly boy.
Me and my big mouth.
The way the cookie crumbles for you anyway.
Okay. So I took action. So what do you mean by I took action?
Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was gonna capture her and teach her a good lesson. Something you young'uns need.
I'm going to teach her a good lesson.
I was gonna make her eat that damaging beams of my ray gun. Like this.
No, stop.
Well, it was too bad that woman didn't come through that door that night.
I don't think that's true. Wait.
What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with kids is over.
Secret information that no one else knows yet. If that's true, then how do you know the secret information?
Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drill a hole in my brain, you'll never find out.
I wonder that old bag is just a secret piece of information. Oh. Let me see if I can. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag?
Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that.
Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire secret info, isn't it? So this could be it. Can I save real quick? Hold on. Oh no, I can't. You call that proof? Looks more like proof of spite towards the witness. You have nothing to back up your claims, and you are no more valid than a gossip.
Objection sustained.
Okay. Gesture of ill will.
Okie dokie, see nothing can get me down.
Great. Just another tidbit of gossip, doesn't it? But you can't just ignore it either. Makes your client look bad either way. I think I heard anything really out of the ordinary just now. Okay, so maybe it is. Maybe it's the camera thing. Let me do this real quick. I think it's the camera then. It's true, the one. You know what? There we go.
The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart.
Oh, yes, I remember that mischievous girl.
She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself.
Reported such a thing?
On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews.
What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
No, I said impressions.
Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless?
Oh, that's it. That's the note.
No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy.
Then you are the one who took Miss Hart's note.
I'm a huge fan of wands, that's why. An infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil Engarde. She said so herself. Engarde, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written.
Huh?
Huh? Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. Never taken anything else before.
You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine.
Well, there's only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook it just this once.
Looks like she's really sorry. Can I forgive her? I feel like not really. Let's pile on more pressure. I'm not feeling very. I let up on her now. She'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct?
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from a terrible lonely trash can, that's all.
You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it.
Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Miss Oldbag.
I don't believe that the note is the only thing that you stole that night.
I mean, that would be funny, but it's the camera. Miss Oldbag, that note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it?
Camera?
Yesterday, Lana Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared on me."
Right. Witness.
What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, it's only logical that you have the camera too.
Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for?
That's...
What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people.
I think your definition of borrow was a little off.
I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Slimebag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. And when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she'd taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things.
Look at this. Check this camera's photos, hurry. Must examine them at once.
Indeed.
Well, Mr. Edward, what do we have?
There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case.
Present it to the court.
Oh, yeah?
This is the Nickel Samurai.
See, I told ya. That's the guy I saw.
Yeah, but look at his... Is that picture actually gonna be useful?
The witness was not lying earlier about this matter.
It does a little bit.
What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant, however. In his own confession, Mr. Engarde clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his nickel samurai costume.
Were there two costumes? That's the question.
That is the case, then this nickel samurai is...
The defendant.
How did it come to this? And this brings us to the end. We've examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright. The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client?
If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, then I will put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Mata took, there's something strange with it. There's something strange with this photo.
I knew this was coming. Right.
Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster.
Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright?
Sort of. Sort of. Anyway, please look at the photo one more time.
You really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo? You should only need one chance, correct?
Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. Can't let this chance go by. Where in the heck did she take this photo from anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Yeah, why is she like on the ground? Did she like fall asleep?
And to your objection.
What about this photo? Oh wow, they... Jeez, it's here. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here.
What are you pointing to? His ankles?
If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't.
And what does that mean?
The costumed person in this photo could not have been Mr. Engarde.
What's the meaning of this?
I wonder if you would care to elaborate with actual facts, that is.
Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. The poster!
Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the Hakama.
His socks. We can see his socks.
Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his Hakama up just to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. Doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all?
Edward, where does this leave us? The person in this photo is not Matt Engarde. Everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless.
I figured it would come to this.
What?
Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you've proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt Engarde. In that case,
Who is this a photo of? Hmm. Who is the killer?
Who is the person wearing the nickel samurai costume?
Don't stress over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. To be focused on is Edward's attitude, don't you think? Yeah, why is he so calm?
Mr. Ed, to your thoughts. Who's the person in this photograph?
I mean, I think it's this person. No, they definitely do have different eyes and different eyebrows.
Agent Andrews.
If you want to know who that nickel samurai is, it's none other than this woman.
And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her?
For starters, she's short. Good start. And she can freely move in and out of Mr. Engarde's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Engarde that night.
How does that all add up?
It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Engarde's fingerprints all over it.
Knife that was used as a murder weapon.
Except it wasn't a murder weapon.
Why don't you just say what it is you want, right?
I have to do this now. It's my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime.
Order, order, order! So this trial is in the most unexpected development. Edward.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. But it cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony.
Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. It sure is. Because that's probably a delay in the trial. Huh? What do you mean? Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness. It means that the trial will go on for another day. Yup. One more day. If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya...
Well, then we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow.
What am I supposed to do? I'm just about to adjourn the court.
I think you have to raise an objection here, not gonna lie. Now then.
Could be a wait and see, but I don't think Edric was going to do it. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today.
Can't do that. Not hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she's not.
I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth?
Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But cannot continue due to this unexpected development.
Tisk tisk. Unexpected development. I think you underestimate me, Your Honor.
And what do you mean by that?
That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Andrews is all happening according to plan. Even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? Oh yes. Edgeworth is clearly helping again. What? I would not be surprised if Edgeworth was the killer, but I still don't know that for a fact.
There's a meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth.
Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She's the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. It's like this battle is far from over. Exactly.
Very well. We'll call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. Be continued.
All right. Court defendant lobby number 3. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian. No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a dog the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your Hakama. Guess she was the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she's the real killer. She's the one who murdered Juan Corrida. I'm not entirely sure that's the case. I think there's still another twist. Yeah, I don't think... Yeah. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. A verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze? Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude. Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impax's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax as her strength and reason to live. But then, Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it. It's Juan Corrida, the victim of the murder. Excuse me. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? But it stated Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax. It was Edgeworth. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet.
Court will now reconvene, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please.
The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court, Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room.
She's still fiddling with that card.
What is your occupation?
I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Engarde.
I see, now then.
Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request.
Sir, what is it?
I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently.
Oh no, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land.
If Judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all the work for me.
Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim.
Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida.
I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself.
So it was a fry and bait matter, or was it a bait and fry matter? Reminds me of fishing.
But I didn't kill him.
No one is accusing you of that. I mean, well, I'm accusing you of that.
I think there's someone who would beg to differ.
I think we all understand the relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder had taken place.
When I found the body. Alright.
It's time for the show to
I don't know why he went to the judge there.
It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock.
Yeah, see right there. I can't point. There's a little piece of paper in this flashback that wasn't there afterwards.
What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo.
It was not the exact same scene.
I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a
glass of juice? Huh?
You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime, and I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that's when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor.
That's very convenient.
I see. Mr. Wright, may cross-examine the witness.
Phoenix. She's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who's easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant the trial is over, understand? Alright. Basically, you're gonna just have to probably press a lot of things. That's not true, though. Oh, well, I guess he's saying she found it later. And what was Mr. Engarde doing at that time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Engarde did say he was taking a nap. And I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you? Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. You can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Engarde's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. After that, I went to Juan's room. But why? And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture. Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. The show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Let's press further here, I think. I'll save just in case, but let's press further. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. Can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got in this room? Okay, I can't press it. You were in shock. What? Was I not supposed to be? Sanders is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. You can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not.
I see.
What I saw was naturally the exact scene. I don't think that's true at all. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? But it's not, because you moved!
Yes, the one with the knife launched in his chest.
And the guitar case was like this too. And the guitar case was like this too?
Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness?
felt as though I was about to faint. I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice?
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself.
But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct?
And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time.
Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you.
Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake, that one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind, it's no big deal.
What was she starting to say just now? No, we have to press further.
Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime.
What I really want to know is what this mistake was.
Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Well, we know that's not true. We know that's a contradiction. We know that's not true.
Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? The mess of glass shards.
It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
And another fact has come to light here. Please add this to anything else you'd like to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else.
This is a lie. Well, it's not necessarily a lie, but the order of events is wrong. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct?
Yes.
And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case?
Is there some problem with what I said?
It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what's so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside.
That's very true.
Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case.
What was that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor.
And what's wrong with that?
If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards would be inside, not outside the case.
Was your point right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over?
Is that all?
No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else.
This is right. Did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case.
But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all.
But the murderer wouldn't have known that.
That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case.
I think we do. I think we need to testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either.
Alright, I'll follow along for now. Sanders, please testify to the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honor. The guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
This really wasn't a very important point.
This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting.
Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination.
Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man.
During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind?
Well, you see,
are you sure you were the one who opened the guitar case? Her fingerprints weren't on the guitar case.
She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not.
It's like her dependent side is taking over.
Well, Miss Andrews.
Yes, it was me.
I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So, you opened the guitar case then?
Yes, well, maybe.
Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I wouldn't think that the first thing you would do is call for help. Or I would think the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. Especially after you poured yourself a glass of tomato juice.
As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it.
Why would she care about the bright red guitar?
But getting back on topic, it's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all.
Was it really empty?
I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention.
Yes, pay me attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry. So why open the case, even I don't know.
I think the issue is her fingerprints aren't on the case, though. Which is interesting.
Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it.
I'm not gonna get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix, we can't afford to let her up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. I'm to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Because I was a bit dazed. Suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. I'm gonna do this. I'm fairly sure the guitar case, because it doesn't have her fingerprints on it. Yeah. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case.
Why would you say that?
It's elementary, my dear Andrews. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim.
Is it Mr. Andrews? Or Miss Andrews?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case.
That is actually true.
What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time?
That's convenient. But you weren't wearing gloves at the time because your fingerprints are on the glass.
Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves at the time?
It was the night of the awards ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
Nothing strange about that. No, there's definitely something strange. That's strange. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? The idea that you pour a glass of tomato juice while not wearing gloves, then put on gloves to open a case, all while there is a dead body right next to you.
Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time?
I do. The wine glass.
I have your proof right here. The wine glass. The wine glass?
You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Oh, well, I'm glad she had a spare pair of glasses. I guess that happens a lot.
Order, order, order.
Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here.
But it's just an empty case.
I wonder if it really was empty, though.
But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio.
Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar.
You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. No, clearly it was a bright blue guitar.
I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. The witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact that, on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided... No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, if it's wide open in this photo of the crime scene, I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder.
Someone opened it.
If you're so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct?
Maybe.
Please enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
Bird guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest bright black guitar?
So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, right?
Well, technically, infinitely many things that can fit within the volume of the guitar case could have been in the guitar case.
I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder?
Can I go with that? I think it was the suicide note.
And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one?
Mr. Wright, why?
Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that void where your brain is supposed to be?
Yes, I'll never bring it out again.
Alright. And a foolishly foolish fool get some love? Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove that the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder? Let me do this here. Okay. I don't have many options left, so... It wasn't that. What could it have been? What was in the guitar case? Okay, so it's not that. Okay. What am I thinking? What could it be? I really don't know. So it can't be the button, and it can't be that. And it can't be the photo, and it can't be the photo. Not the article. Oh, I just had a thought. I mean, it's probably wrong. Maybe there's something here? Maybe there's something here? In the photo? I don't know what it is. Might something like that be inside? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I don't see what could be in there. I'm really struggling to wonder what it is. I wonder if this was, I'm hoping this wasn't just like a long route where it all doesn't make sense, but I don't know, man. I don't know. What was in there? An article? Wine glass? I mean, I can go through and process of elimination it, but I don't think that's gonna do us. But I'm also like in a death spiral then. Not there, it's not there, it's something a turn. I tried that one, right? Yeah. I really don't know. Could also be very wrong. I need to wait to get to that point, like, because it could, maybe it could start with all of those things, but I don't know.
It's not this. It's not a hotel guide map. No. It's not this. I don't think it's that. It's not this. It's not this. It's not the knife. Come on, think. What am I not thinking? What could be in this case? And it wasn't this. No. Okay, let me just try all of them. I'm just gonna have to try to brute force it real quick. So apologies, because I really don't know what logic it's trying to get me. Okay, yep. This is how they're gonna photograph.
This is a photograph.
Yes, but what's important is what's in the picture, Your Honor.
In this picture.
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is, I don't know what you mean. Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. Oh. So there was a second costume. What?
Right, explain yourself.
Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity, so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone else see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I see, this is the point. I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Phoenix might, I don't. Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot, correct?
You mean this photo?
Right, but she was looking for Adrian Andrews, which means Adrian Andrews would have had to go in so that she could stop the photograph.
Order. Looks like we wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix. You know my strategy, speak first, think later.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Engarde's. Why would somebody of the defendant be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places.
True, and this little babbling. It's alright, the court would like to hear your thoughts.
Doing inside the guitar case. spare costume? I guess it could have been stolen. I think this might be where we're going with the press conference. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. Engarde.
Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing?
Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, Mr. Engarde would have been forced to go naked. That's not what it is. It's a spare costume, okay. Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Engarde did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. You can testify that he took a nap while still wearing his costume. Is this not correct? Yeah, he did say something. Okay. Did I get another shot? Yeah. So it was a spare costume. Second guessed myself. Mr. Engarde did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we're talking about was a spare one. What?
Are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 nickel samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
How do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Corridor, was the German ninja. Why would he secretly bring the nickel samurai spare costume with him? What would be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? No, I just...
Alright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the nickel samurai spare costume was...
Oh, Jesus.
The reason why... Oh, it's this. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold this special press conference.
Press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference.
I heard about this as well. I want you not making something up, right?
But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engarde himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
How can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. They did say it was a Nickel Samurai press conference, not a Matt Engarde press conference.
They're going to dress up as a nickel samurai and hold a conference? Why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference.
The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager it was going to reveal something about himself.
Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engarde.
Yes, I guess that's what it would mean.
But if that's the case,
That's not a confession. That's public disclosure.
Anders.
I can see why you're pros at what you do.
Pardon me.
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
Anders, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up.
And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Juan had bet everything on the Jamma Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought, anyway.
You're going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What?
You know what the secret of Miss Engarde is, Mr. Andrews? Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
I see.
How convenient. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Engarde?
Yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. How did you know about the button? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
Does it account for everything?
Well, I am the logical type. Finally seeing her true self. It's more nervous than a scared rabbit.
The defense can find no fault with this testimony. I'm ready to make a ruling. Just keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
It's like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. Which means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Something's definitely wrong here, that's for sure. The moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Why? Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need three things. Three things. A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Felix. They didn't teach us that in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Why? So, would you say his need came from the press conference? Yes, do you know why Juan chose the event at the hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Engarde.
You knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Engarde himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? I can't. Other than his own testimony. Anyway, the important thing here is this information was not in your testimony.
I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Engarde done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who held Mr. Corrida with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Engarde, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Engarde, right? What the witness was thinking and helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I mean, no, that's a fair question to ask. But how did you know the time of the murder? But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Engarde was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Engarde? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
Keep going, but I can't find the flaws in Miss Andrews' set. Can't say the same for the people here in this courtroom, however.
He's just glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. Those were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. During the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jam Ninja's costume.
Talking about this button, correct?
And that button was found in the pleats in Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. An icy stare, yes.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
And that button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. How do you know this, though? And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I heard that before, too. Why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you are not. I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. Where and what? I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? And this witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engarde at any time. Why then would she wait until there was such a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corrido planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engarde as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Rack's philosophical power hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Only because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if they press a little more. You know this by now. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make your talk. Got it, Chief. Okay. When I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove that I'm right. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. The button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. I guess no. Hold on, let me try this. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's accurate because there's blood on it. No, that's not it. Okay. I can't press it. I didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. Sorry, that was my bad. The button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. I don't have any way to prove I'm right. I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. What do I have? What do I have as evidence? We have this thing here. I could try that.
No, that's not right. I must turn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. I think there's something here. Something to do with maybe this? Nope, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong photo. That's the wrong photo. I think it has to do with the picture of that. Because I think that's where things don't make sense. Let's try this. No, it's not. Okay. One was torn off of Juan with his fight with Matt, which I don't think is accurate. This is the part where I was pressing that it said that it's something here. Do you know that? If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? Gosh darn it. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. There's something here. What about the crime scene? No. That's not it. I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. That button was turned off during his fight with Matt. I don't have any way to prove that I'm right. I know what his motive was, but what was it? Why do you ask? Then it was supposed to break down, out. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. The button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Stage show. Wasn't the button. Could it be this? Because, like, where's the button? Could be. Nope. Nope. What am I thinking? Why am I so far off on this? Nope. me this thing. No, I mean, why would that have anything to do with it? And it wasn't this. Gosh darn it. I forgot the wrong button. I think it's Obra Dinn that's doing this to me. Because he had to move left and right to go through the options. He didn't have an alibi for who's doing it. The murder. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any proof. Way to prove him right. So it wasn't this. It's not this. These don't make sense. Maybe this? It is. It's like, hold on. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? Yeah. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
What does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Yeah. Exactly, which means it's impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. I see. That does make sense. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body.
Order.
What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Right, does this mean...
Right, they're trying to plant it. To pin the crime. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Engarde. There's no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Engarde was set up. By the real killer, of course.
And the real murderer is... Brother Mr. Right. Where in the world is the real killer then?
That's good, so we can finally make past that. Finally. Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The person who planned to frame Mr. Engarde is... I mean, theoretically, this is the person, right? This is what all the evidence is pointing to, but I still feel like there's one more twist here. Well, this is the right answer. Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Corditas' killer. What? I hope she has another set of glasses.
Order, order! Mr. Wright! It's a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? Yeah, evidence, bud. The thing I've been lacking this entire trial. All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. Oh, she did have another set of glasses. Look at that. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't? Can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he'd already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engarde, naturally. The knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Fourth pair of glasses. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he'd already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engarde was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Fifth pair of glasses. If you're counting at home. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Engarde's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. About the empty guitar case.
And that's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. The costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Although, there's still the question of the lack of fingerprints on other things, but anyway. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints are nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. See, I wrote this game.
That's right.
And that's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. But to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. 6 pairs of glasses. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Engarde. It would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Not so sure.
Andrews.
I think she did cover it up. I think he was already dead, though. I refuse to testify. Pleading the fifth. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. This is the Fifth Amendment. They have the Fifth Amendment in Phoenix Wright.
Well, yes. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews.
Although you've already testified. So I'm not a lawyer. However, if my understanding is correct, you do have the right not to testify in such a way that would incriminate yourself. And sometimes it does come up to specific questions. However, typically that also means you can't testify in your own defense either. So in essence, you can't pick and choose, per se, which questions you can testify to or not. So, in essence, like, if you get called to the stand by the prosecution and you testify, you can't then plead the fifth when it's time for the defense to cross-examine. I think, theoretically. There might be, it probably depends.
After the grant, Miss Andrews, the law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination, by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? You should know that, Phoenix. Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Engarde's room. Oh well, it did say that.
Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? All right.
That's it. And that's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things looked bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix.
There's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done?
What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What is so humorous, Mr. Edwards?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless.
What?
Everything you have proven is circumstantial.
Circumstantial?
Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida.
Well, I tried. You all just rejected the evidence before.
Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
That is not true, by the way. You cannot make such an inference when someone pleads the fifth.
Maybe so, or maybe so not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty due to my silence.
No, she's taking that defiant attitude again.
Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she's the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof.
I just don't agree. But that's not true.
In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do. That is declare a recess.
Recess?
First, both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial.
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. We don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. A trial. Please continue the trial.
What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he?
That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. I wonder if this is also a point, though. Because he's falling into the same thing. He's trying to win his case at any cost. But not for his defendant, but for his client, for himself. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It's not impossible for this trial to continue.
Edward, what are you?
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there's one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what this is about Edward today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
What acknowledges the prosecution's request, Miss Andrews, if you please.
And I found the body, revisiting the testimony.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked in the room and I saw it in a messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, I thought he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
I think this is actually more of the truth. Because I think, to a degree, she didn't murder him. I think there was no murder. There was a cover-up, but I don't think there was a murder.
Well, a glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. Can't find anything wrong with this testimony, and there's nothing left. I know. What the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
And then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Alright, let's think this through.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. So it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Cordy?
Okay.
I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Then, what did you witness next? Slumped over. Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
So that means there was no knife in his chest.
Just me, or did that right there sound a little odd?
It did.
When I saw him sitting like that, I thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. And what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
I see, so you didn't think he was dead at all.
That's a little odd.
I thought he just fainted or something, so I went to pour some juice. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice? Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So one always has a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see, and after that, what happened next?
I realized that he was dead, and that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
What made you realize he was dead?
And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backwards. I knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. And this is what it all comes down to. And Adrian's letting her guard down.
Yep. No, it is.
I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state, and Juan, who was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner.
The question is where? Where does this go? It's the knife, I think. Well, it's the knife or the picture.
The corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought he was dead didn't even cross my mind.
Let me try this one, because this is what Phoenix reacted to. So let me start by presenting the picture. Nope. Okay. Okay. So it's that or it's one of the... Okay, no. Okay. It's one of the other ones. It's one of the other ones. It's gotta be this one. Didn't cross my mind. Now let's try this. Yeah. Got it. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him?
No, not at all.
Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body.
What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Cordita's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought there was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is...
Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. 7 pairs of glasses.
And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer.
No!
It's like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. Friend Mr. Engarde is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
There's more to this. This can't be the end.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear. He's the one who killed Juan.
But you were the one who refused to testify. True. Although again... I mean, yeah. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself.
That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance.
To be fair, the entire point of being might incriminate yourself, it could be incrimination to that, it could also be the incrimination of some other crime. You also have the right not to incriminate yourself in another crime, not related to this thing, right? So like, if someone asks you a question, and doing so, answering it honestly could potentially perjure yourself for whatever reason. Theoretically, that would also be a time you could plead the fifth. So like if you had just said something that it's complicated.
I'll give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
There's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Engarde's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over?
No, it's not over.
Have we found the truth at last?
No.
What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Yeah. In the real world, most people don't confess.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Engarde.
I don't think she's actually the killer. I think she tried to cover it up, but I don't think she's the killer.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. The witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
Absolute real truth? What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted the silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Engarde will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisca von Karma. Huh?
Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. And right now, Miss Andrews is. Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engarde will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undeniably believes those words right now and is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? No, I don't think she is. All we have to do now is to get her not guilty. That's my only priority. This is the setup. This is the mistake. It's also probably why the door was unlocked. We're able to get out of the lock. It's the entire point. Phoenix, you're being the same as the Von Karmas and Edgeworth. You're just trying to get a verdict. You don't actually care about the truth. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone help me.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court can't continue on like this if we'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who's the real mastermind behind this crime.
It's the real mastermind. Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the one crying over there, right?
Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Force Andrews to testify, request not guilty verdict. No. So you have to get to the truth. You have to get to the truth. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that, but I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you were really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Engarde would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me.
That's enough. I meant you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear the defense theory is the truth.
You're wrong.
What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However,
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court.
Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth.
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report.
What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews.
The secret of her dependent nature. Letting other people know about this scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop, I beg you. If people find out, I'll...
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is no concern to me.
Jeez, a little bit more tact. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold?
However, before you die,
Jesus, what a line.
I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me.
I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. My crime.
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. Yeah. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Yep. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using that nickel samurai costume. Right, someone was now outside.
And the body with a knife, but why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all this?
I might take this quote a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time?
So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engarde for the murder. And this is her proof.
What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? No.
Alright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
I really don't know. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. And that's when I thought, I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button.
The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. How was there no one in the hallway? And that was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped and took the knife and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with the knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did, but at the time I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, it could make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Matt Engarde's Hatama?
Yes, that's what I had planned to do, but things never go that smoothly, do they?
Had a bit of inconvenience.
An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. And that was Miss Olnback for you. I'd already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once. I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. You were the one who prepared the costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the awards ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct?
Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. I was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
What is this secret?
That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the nickel samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I don't want to concede, but this testimony rings of the truth. Sorry, Phoenix. No, please don't apologize to me. We're both taking this place. Still, I'm sorry.
I really think it is the truth. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know who was dead?
He had a scarf tied around his neck. And that scarf is a part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so
so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice.
I think we've heard enough. After that, we went back to Mr. Engarde's room and planted the button.
To Matt's Hakama, yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then they snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word, what does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Engarde. Yesterday, that one prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francesca, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. And if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
This witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, you can be certain she's not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There's been a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murder. Cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. And establish that the witness was the culprit, please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. The court is adjourned for today.
Today's trial, it's over. I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this. Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remember just now I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. Ah. I found this card when I discovered one's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to one's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness that card! Give it to me, hurry! Edgeworth? You have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? This, I can't believe you hidden from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? Never seen Edward so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it, and what does it mean? To be continued. And that is where we will end for the night. We did not get an acquittal, but we got more. This clearly has something to do with something. That's for sure. The card. We also somewhat know Maya has seemingly escaped. And I still think a part of this was to push... Like, there's too many parallels for Phoenix. He was pushing and pushing and pushing in pursuit of a verdict and not the truth, which is the exact same thing the Von Karmas or even Edgeworth at one point were doing, right? That's the whole problem. And I think that's what Edgeworth is trying to get through to Phoenix is like, even you're susceptible to this. Why are you in that room? Are you in that room to protect your client, or are you in that room to get the truth? That's what I think, at least. But anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday, either as an early stream or a normal time stream. It depends on how work goes on Wednesday. And we'll start with part 3-1, the investigation. So with that all being said, thank you everybody for tuning in if you have. Remember to drink some water, stay hydrated, eat some food, get some sleep, and take care of yourself the best that you can. For YouTube, this is me signing off. Bye-bye.